Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and surprise, surprise, we have another goalkeeper to talk about. Hey, yes. How many is that we're on now? It's a lot. I'll tell you that. It's a lot of goalkeepers. Let's get into this one. Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gents. It's nice to see you. If you haven't already, you know what to do by now. Head down below, hit like and subscribe. It would be much appreciated as we enter the last week of the domestic season. A Scottish Cup final this weekend on Saturday. But today, we're going to turn our attention away from the Cup final for a little bit. We've got a few stories to talk about, mainly in the realms of the transfer world. Yep, we've had some updates on players who could be coming and who could be leaving Celtic. It's all kicking off. It's all getting busy. And if you want to stay updated for the entirety of the summer, you know what to do. Like and subscribe, stay around. It's all going to be right here. So yesterday we sat down on the channel to talk about the rumours that have linked Celtic with Burnley goalkeeper Ari Muric. We sat and talked about that. Celtic apparently interested in making it one of the options on this goalkeeper shortlist. This shortlist which is becoming very, very long, if rumours are to be believed. And this is the beautiful thing about transfer season. You get linked with every Tom, Dick and Harry. Whether there's substance to it or not, there's always going to be names popping up out of nowhere. So today we have another goalkeeper to talk about. This one I feel like potentially with the most substance yet. This is potentially the most believable rumour of them all so far. Comes from a reputable source. Looks like a believable story. And also, Celtic wouldn't be spending any money on a transfer fee, so that makes it wildly believable. Late last night in the Daily Mail, Stephen McGowan reported this headline that Celtic have got an eye on Belgian goalkeeper Casteels as a potential replacement for Joe Hart. The free agent Koen Casteels has emerged as an option for Celtic despite holding talks with Anderlecht. The 31-year-old goalkeeper has said farewell to Wolfsburg after 9 seasons and 275 appearances for the Bundesliga side. Celtic have added him to a list of potential replacements for Joe Hart. So, nothing in the article to suggest that Celtic have made contact or anything of the sort yet, that he is, the top target or anything like that. Generally just saying that he is an option for Celtic, but boy, what an option this would be. If you keep up with football over in the continent or in the Bundesliga, you'll be very familiar with the name Koen Casteels. He's made, as the article's already said, over 275 appearances for Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga. He's somebody who's been a number one in the German top flight for over a decade now, and a former Belgian international as well, somebody who has 9 appearances for the Belgian national side. Probably would have been more if Thibaut Courtois wasn't in his way, keeping that spot warm for himself. A very good and very talented goalkeeper who, at the end of this season, at the end of the month, will become a free agent, which means he's anybody's. Anybody can go in and get him. Apparently, he's held talks with Anderlecht so far, but will Celtic try and make a last-minute swoop for the goalkeeper now that he's emerged as an option? He said his farewells to the German side, and we'll look at his career in a moment, but just to talk on the player himself, I said that this is probably the article with the most substance so far. I say that because usually Stephen McGowan is a reliable source to go by, usually quite in the know with the transfer dealings at Celtic, and this is one which is the exact sort of market Celtic should be shopping, and this would be a massive coup for Celtic. This would be an incredible signing, and is the kind of calibre of goalkeeper I would fully expect Celtic to go for in replacing Joe Hart. Joe Hart came into Celtic, of course, in a very weird position in his career where he hadn't been playing regular football for a long time, but had that pedigree of being Joe Hart, being a former Premier League winner, being a former England #1, being one of the most famous goalkeepers in the continent, quite simply. And to replace a goalkeeper of that calibre, of that standard, Koen Casteels fits the bill. Absolutely. And so far, out of every goalkeeper who has been linked, this is the one that I would want Celtic to get. This is the one that I think we should go for. Comes with so many positives. Comes with the fact that, look, listen, we're all urging Celtic to spend money this summer. We're all dying for that to happen. We want to break the bank. We want to go out and, reap the rewards of that 60 million we'll get for the Champions League. But this is somebody we can pick up on a free who would be as good as a £10 million goalkeeper. I guarantee you that. One of the best goalkeepers in the Bundesliga over the past 10 years. He's been up there with the best of the best in that league. You know, up there with, not obviously your Manuel Neuers, who's the best goalkeeper in the world, but he's been up there consistently, pulling off saves, keeping clean sheets, being one of the standouts in that division for a long, long time. There's a reason he's racked up so many appearances. You don't rack up nearly 300 appearances in Germany's top flight by being an okay goalkeeper. Really, really good. And it's the pedigree of goalkeeper I would love to see Celtic sign. Celtic do have an advantage if they decide to move in for Koen Casteels over the opposition, which seems to be Anderlecht right now. As Stephen McGowan points out in his article, his chances, or the chances of Anderlecht landing Koen Casteels, have taken a blow after defeat to Club Brugge at the weekend ended their hopes of winning the Pro League and securing automatic qualification for the Champions League. So there you go, right there. Celtic have that advantage. We are automatically in the Champions League next season. That's obviously a big factor in deciding where a player wants to end up, because European football is huge and Champions League football is even bigger than Europa League, Conference League, whatever. Could be an attractive option considering Anderlecht don't have that should Celtic decide to go in and try and make something happen. Just an interesting part to point out from the article as well. Apparently Stephen McGowan and Mail Sport did reach out to the player. This was part of the article, saying that he declined to confirm or deny any interest from Celtic when contacted by Mail Sport. But when he spoke after his final game for Wolfsburg, he told the club website he doesn't have a new club yet. He's held initial talks, but it's not 100% certain which club I'll be playing for next season. So he spoke to a number of clubs. He's not confirmed or denied any sort of comment or communication, with Celtic. Could that be one of the clubs that he's in conversations with? I don't know, but I would absolutely love it to be the case. Look, listen, I know that people will probably have that look on things that you know, it's a free agent, Celtic are going for the cheap options. This is one of these players you make an exception for. This is a player I happily bring in to be the new number one and bring in a pre-contract. Absolutely. No doubt about it. And it allows you to invest heavily in other areas. Koen Casteels is somebody who could be our number one for the next 2-3 years at a very high level, which he's proven for a decade in the Bundesliga. Probably could play for another team at the top end of the Bundesliga if he wanted to. Wolfsburg haven't been great in recent years, but he could probably play for a solid team in that division. If we were to land him, it'd be huge. I would love to see that happen at Celtic. If there is future development with this story surrounding Koen Casteels, then we definitely will go in and break down his stats a little bit more. But this is basically what you need to see in the surface in recent years. Plenty of experience in the top competitions, playing, you know, Champions League, Europa League, a number of times in his spells with Wolfsburg. And obviously just in general, he's stat 275 appearances for Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga, 43 for Hoffenheim, 7 for Werder Bremen. He's been doing it consistently, and you know, he's basically played in every game for the last decade. You know, he's missed a few, he's missed a handful of games here and there, as you do, rotation and such fitness issues. He's had a big injury as well, I think in recent years. I think around 2020 he was out with a broken tibia. So you know, just the natural things that happen. You can't be fit all the time, but he's basically been there for a decade as number one, and he's been very highly rated by all his coaches, by the fans, by teammates. He would be a great pick-up for Celtic. So we'll watch how this develops, and when it does, we'll have more details on it. We'll break down him more deeper as well. But for me, this is the keeper Celtic should be going for. And finally, just to end off things, today we've had another update in regards to players who could be leaving the club this summer by Anthony Joseph of Sky Sports, another reliable source as we all know. He provided an update on skysports.com about players who could potentially leave the club this summer. So here was the quote on screen from Anthony Joseph. He said that the likes of James McCarthy, Gustav Lagerbielke, Sead Haksabanovic, Mikey Johnson and Yuki Kobayashi will be allowed to move on if clubs come in for them, and a decision will also be made on Stephen Welsh, who has attracted a lot of interest from Italy, France and Germany over the years, but Celtic have kept him a backup after he signed a new contract until the summer of 2027. So a lot of the names that we expected to see linked with moves away from the club cropping up in that article, the likes of your Haksabanovics and Mikey Johnsons. However, the one that might create a bit of a surprise is, of course, Stephen Welsh, who signed a new contract at the start of this season. And I think has been kind of happy being a backup option for Celtic. But if there's a move apparently on the table, Celtic aren't willing to deny him that opportunity. So we could have maybe seen the last of Stephen Welsh should the right move come in for him, if these Italian teams maybe crop back up again or such. I didn't really expect to see his name included on the list, but you know, the guy probably wants to play football at this stage of his career. He probably wants to be playing week in, week out, and now with the likes of Liam Scales ahead of him in the pecking order, Mike Nawrowski, Cameron Carter-Vickers, of course, and probably new centre-halves coming in, Stephen Welsh's time at the club is going to be, well, his time in the pitch is going to be very, very slim pickings, so wouldn't blame him if he wanted to move on. There was also a little bit of coverage on Matt O'Reilly, Rio Hatate and Cameron Carter-Vickers, but nothing outside of what we know. Of course, teams watching them from all over the continent and really good players, so they're going to attract moves. But there was that kind of confirmation that Cameron Carter-Vickers is happy where he is and not looking to move anytime soon. This was what Anthony Joseph put in that article, saying that there has been reported interest from West Ham United in Cameron Carter-Vickers, but there's been no concrete bids. And it's understood that the international, or the USA international, is happy at the club. So, yeah, hopefully that remains true through the summer and we don't see Cameron Carter-Vickers move. And hopefully Rio Hatate as well. Don't want to see him off. I've accepted that Matt O'Reilly will probably be gone, but the other two, keep them chained at Lennox Town. Thanks. Right, that does it for today then. A bit hectic, a bit all over the place. I know, apologies. It's just transfer season. Get used to it. It's going to be a summer of this until we have further concrete details. We are very much so at that early point of the transfer dealings where it's just going to be names thrown out left, right and centre. And as I try and do every year, I will try and bring you the stories which have the most substance and bring you the updates which deserve to be reported on the most. So if you trust me, that's great. Thank you very much. But for now, that's going to do it. Make sure to hit like and subscribe to remain updated on all these stories, and I'll see you all next time.